Welcome, PKFT1 here again with Blur. And today we're going to talk about. I know we only have 12 hours until, I think less, 11 hours until the Smash reveal. And this was something I wanted to do. I didn't get to do it till late today, but I figured I wanted to talk about speculation. I know everybody and their dog does, but I never seem to hear anybody talk about anything that really seems. Um, I don't know. There's always a few oddball choices I hear in there, so I want to talk about some things that we know, um, that could kind of give us a hint as to what we could maybe expect. So there's been all sorts of stuff going on. If you follow Smash speculation or rumors, everybody knows that there's this whole deal with 7-Eleven, and 7-Eleven always puts out these posters anytime they're about to either announce a character or if they're about to release a character. They'll always put out these posters, and they did it again, except it had like the Fighters Pass 2 on, and it went until October 3rd before they were going to take it down. So it seems that anytime 7-Eleven puts a poster up, even if there's characters that they just need to release or reveal, it seems that anytime they put a poster out, you can expect an announcement within that time frame before they take it down. So it's never lied to us once yet, which I think is pretty cool for Smash Spec. There's usually only a few things that ever are consistent. Okay, Blair, let me ask you, is there anybody in particular that you are speculating about, even if it's a character that you don't particularly care for?
Um, well, I noticed the last two, like the last one from Fighter Pass 1, they did Byleth and then they did Arms.
Mm-hmm. They did Min
Um,
Min.
I think they might, I'm not sure. I mean, this is just my own personal opinion. I think they might just stick with Nintendo characters. I mean, they could go and do, a different character. Watch me be wrong, and they're gonna get a character from a different company. But I know they've been getting characters that a lot of people ask for. I know people have
Mm-hmm.
talked about Gino, so maybe him. I
Right,
feel like he
right.
might be in the pass even if he's not the next one announced.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know enough about that character, but I know people have been begging for that one. Uh, Other than that, I'm like, I have no idea what they are looking for.
I don't think you're on the wrong path. I mean, Gino's interesting because he's a Square owned character, I think, but he only appeared in like a Nintendo property, so he's more or less a Mario character. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. I think that he's happening. We got Ridley, we got K. Rool, we've gotten Banjo. I mean, Gino is the character that even Sakurai has talked about wanting to put in. So at this point, like, he seems like he's one of the few remaining that people have really been fervently asking for a long period of time. I think since like the Brawl days or whatever. So he seems like a shoe in at some point. So I agree. I think Gino is actually one of the most likely characters at this point, especially with the Mario anniversary stuff that had just happened. Um, I really wouldn't be surprised if he coincides with this somehow. Um, and then you also bring up another point about Nintendo characters, because we got to remember back when Smash was first revealed, Sakurai talked about how much he wanted to put Rex and Pyra in there from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So I really would not be surprised if that means we get Rex and Pyra in this Fighters Pass. Whether or not it's this slot that gets revealed tomorrow, I don't know. Um, but it wouldn't surprise me. I think somebody brought up that October 1st is Monolith Soft's anniversary. So that could mean something. Um, I don't know if Nintendo necessarily timed it that way, but it's a possibility. But I think you're right. I think if it's a Nintendo character, I don't think anybody will particularly be surprised. The other thing we have to remember is we literally had a Pokemon DLC presentation yesterday. What do you think the chances of a Pokemon are?
I don't think it's as likely. I mean, it could happen. They could put in another new Pokemon from Sword and Shield, but I, just me personally, I think we have enough Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think we need another Pokemon because if they did, I feel like I would want a more if they do have to put a Pokemon, I want a more unique Pokemon, not just another Greninja or Lucario.
Right.
I'd
There.
want to I'd want to I guess a more weird Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
Yeah.
what they'd put in, but
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if I mean there's a lot of people talking about having uh what was it? I can't remember. Maybe people were talking about a grass type starter or something. I think that's what some people were talking about. So maybe I know people were talking about I don't know Gen 8 at all, so forgive me. People were also talking about the Urshifu, is it Urshifu? The new panda fighting Pokemon or
oh,
whatever.
There's Kubfu,
Cubfu.
and then there's a evolved form.
Oh,
Yeah, I could see them putting that one in. I could see that one working.
yeah. So that's a possibility. We did just have the Pokemon thing, so maybe that is to coincide with that. I personally hope that's not the case because I don't know. I don't think I've met anybody who wants a new Pokemon in that slot. But you got to remember, Nintendo chose. If Nintendo wants to promote Pokemon, they'll promote Pokemon. Nobody thought we were going to get any other Fire Emblem characters, and we got Byleth. We got ARMS months after it released. So, well, years after it released. I take that back. So I don't think anybody would be surprised if Pokemon gets in there. I think people will be disappointed if that's the next reveal. But I think at this point, Smash is starting to lose steam. Um, like, people are definitely going to tune in, don't get me wrong. But we're kind of on the back end of the hype train. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the last two reveals, while some people I'm sure were really excited about them, like I was totally
I
fine
know
with
a lot of
Byleth. And
people were really disappointed with Byleth.
yeah, Byleth was a big blow to, I think, people's excitement. And while I think people were cool with Min Min, I don't think I met anybody who was like hyped about
Yeah.
Min Min. People were just like, cool, cool. Um, so I think it's about time that we get a character that would be really exciting. We have yet to get anybody on the level of Banjo, obviously, or even Joker, since those reveals. So I think it's about time. There is one other character that I think Nintendo could throw in their first party that seems somewhat likely to me. So I don't know if you saw with the new Hyrule Warriors game, they revealed that Impa, because she's 100 years old, or well, she's just really old in in Breath of the Wild, and since this game takes place 100 years before, she's young and spry and everything. And so people are like, well, Impa would be the most likely Zelda character to get in next. So people are like, oh, she's probably pretty likely for Smash if Zelda gets another rep, because they only have Zelda, Ganondorf, and Link, and two other versions of Link, and they haven't had a new character since. Technically, they haven't had a new character since Melee that's like brand new to the Zelda series that isn't just another iteration of Link. So, um, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a new Zelda rep. I guess we're technically overdue for one. So Impa, in the form she is in Hyrule Warriors, could work as this weird crossbreed between a Nintendo character and kind of a Koei Tecmo character, I guess, because they'd be using the design from the game that they made. So that could make a lot of sense because Koei Tecmo also probably is going to, I would assume, is going to get a rep since they've been such a fervent supporter of Nintendo. I don't know. What do you think of something like that?
I could see that, especially because I know Nintendo and Sega are also really they do a lot of stuff together now too.
Yeah,
So I could see them doing like a deal with people.
right. So now that we've talked about all the Nintendo esque characters, I want to talk about a few interesting things that have been happening over the past few days. So, I don't even think you're familiar with No More Heroes. Um, but it's a series by a Japanese creator, Suda51, and the main character is Travis Touchdown. And I haven't played them myself, but I am interested in No More Heroes 3. Suda51, his creator, has been basically begging Sakurai for years and years to put Travis into Smash. And there was an interview recently with Suda51, who is always very excited to talk about Travis being in Smash. And always saying, like, oh, I'd love to put him in. I'd love to put him in. Well, in one of the most recent interviews he had, they asked him about it. And he said, and they said, is Travis going to be in Smash? And he said, that's going to be a big no comment from me. Which to me is like, oh, wow, that's a huge red flag that Travis could be getting into Smash. So that's a character I've been thinking for a long time, because you got to think about it. The characters that they've been putting in, have been appearing obviously on Nintendo consoles. I know a lot of people say Joker's never appeared on a Nintendo console. He did. He appeared in Persona Q2. A lot of people forget that. I think that was just enough for Sakurai to justify it. So I do think, I know it's not necessarily a rule, but I do think that's some sort of rule. Cloud had appeared in side games and stuff for Final Fantasy on like DS and whatnot and 3DS. So I don't think there's technically any character who hasn't appeared on a Nintendo console. But I think specifically games like, because think Bayonetta, she's basically a Nintendo character now because Sega will only publish on Nintendo Bayonetta games. Travis is in the exact same situation. From what I understand, he's pretty much a Nintendo exclusive character. And even if he moves to new consoles, like I know there's rumors about remasters for No More Heroes being on like PS4 and stuff. Even if he does, he's still primarily a Nintendo character. All his games originated on Nintendo consoles. So he makes so much sense. He'd be a perfect fit. And while I don't really necessarily, I'm not a fan per se of Travis Touchdown, it makes all the sense in the world to put him in. You got to think ARMS came in later. You got to think that Byleth got in. So it really wouldn't surprise me if we get a character who is this half, first party character. I guess you could say second party. I don't know, but
well, I mean, we even got Terry Bogard. So
yeah, you got Terry in there too. I think he would almost come as a Terry-like reveal where he's kind of out of left field, but it's also like, yeah, that makes sense. So that's definitely a possibility. Will it be this slot? I don't know, but that's a character I've thought for a long time makes too much sense that they wouldn't put him in. And now that they have a second pass, I feel like they were probably like, yeah, we can put him in the second pass. The other character that is also trending right now, I don't know what the validity of this is. Supposedly, so this just came out, I think, today or maybe the other day. And a lot of gaming media is running with this story, but it almost makes me trust it less because gaming media is running with this story. So there's a rumor going around that there is an insider who got some stuff right about Overwatch. He apparently got some stuff right about, like, I think it was only like 2 skins from what I read, but I don't know how accurate that is. But he made like a post on GameFAQs, I think it was, where he basically said, hey, you guys know I don't lie about stuff. I've gotten stuff right in the past. Just want to let you know Tracer's the next Smash character. And what really makes me suspicious of this leak is he starts talking about the trailer. And that to me is always a red flag, because every time anybody describes the trailer,
it's never right.
Yeah, it's never right. So he talks about how like most of the Overwatch cast makes an appearance in the trailer, and that she's in it, and that she has all her abilities basically from Overwatch, that they basically function the same.
Nintendo would have caught him because they've been really keeping an eye
on leaks and stuff. So apparently the thing has since been deleted. So whether or not you think that makes it more valid, or if you think that makes it more invalid, I don't know. But that has been going around. And then, okay, I don't know where this came from, but I was listening. I'm going to source Papa Genos. I watch him a lot just because he's usually pretty good about information. So if you have any questions about this, he mentioned it on a podcast today that apparently I don't know where this is coming from because I started looking for it. So I don't want to say that this is 100% true. But there's some Overwatch account, I believe, is from what I heard. And they have multiple accounts, but everything I looked at, I couldn't find this. But supposedly they made a post today with like some picture of Tracer, and then they said, you're in for a surprise soon, or something along those lines. And so everybody was like, wait a second, is this leak actually legit? So I can't verify this because I looked for it and I couldn't find it, but I heard people talking about it. Sources that seem to be pretty accurate. They at least acknowledged the existence of that post. They were saying they didn't know if it really meant anything or not. What do you think of that?
I could see Tracer being in Smash because she would work. I could see her working.
Yeah. I know a lot of people have a thing against Overwatch. It's a popular, or was a popular game. It's definitely not as popular now as it was. And I think a lot of
people are getting about Persona now.
Yeah, a lot of people are just like, ugh, Overwatch, gross. And it's like, well, even if you don't necessarily like Overwatch, yeah, Tracer would have some cool abilities. You know, you got to think about her blink ability. You got to think about her time, travel, where she can basically go back in time. I really think that you could do some really cool things with her character in Smash. And she would work, I think. The more I think about it, it's like, yeah, she actually would fit really well. They could adjust her style to fit into the Smash style. In fact, I don't even think it's that too far off in the first place. That it's not like she's a character that would, stick out. But she would be one of the only Western characters in the game aside from Banjo, if you want to count Banjo as a Western character, which I would just because, he was created by Rare. And I guess the designs of the DK characters were basically created by Rare too. But she would be one of the only Western characters in Smash. But I think it makes sense. And I think it makes sense because you got to think of a lot of the characters that make it into Smash. They have to have an appeal to people overseas. So very rarely will you get any... In fact, I can't think of any example of a character that you would get that was really popular in the West, but barely popular at all in the East. Banjo, maybe you could make an argument for, but I mean, he was part of Nintendo back in the day, so I'm pretty sure, Japanese people, people overseas knew who Banjo was just as much as we did. If they grew up with Nintendo, I'm sure that they knew who Banjo was, and I've seen videos of them. They know who Banjo is. And Tracer is another one of those characters where Overwatch is like incredibly popular overseas, in Korea, China, Japan. It's been a very popular game. So I really would not be surprised if we wake up tomorrow and it's somebody like Tracer. A Blizzard character to me would be really interesting. It would be very different, and I would be all for it just because I think it would be a fun character. A lot of people disagree with me on that, and that's fine. That's totally fine. I understand, I guess. Maybe I don't, but I really do think that that's a big factor in characters is their worldwide appeal. But sometimes if they're more popular in Japan and the West, then they don't really care. So, what do you think of a character that's third party happening? Are there any characters that you would like to see that maybe aren't necessarily likely, but you think would be really cool?
Another Kirby character would be cool.
Yeah.
They only have 3 characters, so I think another one would be cool.
That's true. Do you think that indie characters even have a chance, or do you think that all indie characters will be relegated to
I could see.
costumes?
I know a lot of people want to see like a character like Hollow Knight, the little main character in that game. But
Mm-hmm.
I could see him also just being a costume. Like you just get like a little helmet,
Yeah.
his little head or something.
Yeah, that's true. It could be something as simple as a mask. Um,
Because they did that with Cuphead, they did it with
sure,
Undertale.
sure. Yeah. Those deluxe me costume things. Yeah, those would definitely be. He makes sense as a me costume for sure. Um, I wonder. I mean, I here's the thing: is like I think if Undertale doesn't get a rep, then I don't know if any indie game will get a rep. I mean, Shovel Knight got the assist trophy treatment. I don't know if that's above or below a costume at this point because if it's the costume, then it's not technically the character; it's just the costume. But if it's the assist trophy, it's the actual character in the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And while they're not playable, it's still, I don't know. So I honestly don't know at this point what's better than the other. I don't think people really play. Well, I take that back. I'm sure there are people who are pretty devoted to playing me Sans. I'm sure there's somebody out there who exclusively plays me Gunner Sans. But most people, I think, will pick up the skin for a little while and then they'll just mess around with it and be like, this is cool, and then forget about it. Because that's what happened to
Yeah.
me. So I wonder if there's anybody out there playing Vault Boy. He's like extremely devoted to Vault Boy specifically.
It's not me.
No, definitely not. Um, that being said, for me, okay, so I'm trying to think of characters at this point because you got to keep in mind Joker was, I think, both of our number one, and Banjo was both of our number two
Two.
picks.
Yeah, those are the two characters I wanted, and I'm like, oh, well, they both made it, so I'm happy.
Right. So it's like it's weird because we don't really have a horse in the race anymore.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I know most people on the planet have like that one character that they want to see get into Smash so badly, and they've never seen it. And that was us with Joker, because like when Joker got announced back in, I guess it was 2018, because it was launch day, so like November 2018, I think, and or maybe it was December. I don't remember. Yeah, it was December. Anyhow, when we were there at launch night, and you got to keep in mind for anybody who's like doesn't have any hope for their character, keep this in mind. When Smash was announced, we were all like, "Man, how cool would it be if Joker was in it? Like that would be so awesome." And we were like texting some friends, and they're like, "Yeah, maybe Jack Frost because he's the mascot for Atlas, but Joker probably doesn't have a chance." And we were like, "Man," and I would look online because I was really into Smash speculation, and every night I remember looking online at like the game facts for characters, and I would search like Joker Smash to see if there was anything about it, and the only thing I could find was like a Famitsu article that Sakurai had written about attending the Persona concerts. And I thought it was really interesting. He was talking about, he was like, oh, it made me cry, blah, blah, blah. And he was talking about how the concert, would change with the colors and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, he definitely has a deep affection for the series. So to me, in my head, I had put it together. And my train of thought was, okay, Sega needs a new rep. They have Bayonetta and Sonic. A new rep, Joker would make perfect sense. He has enough moves. He's not like Yu Narukami or Makoto where they just have their school uniform and whatever weapon they pick up. He actually has his like signature style. He has his signature weapons. Sega and Nintendo have a good relationship. They need a new rep. He makes a perfect fit. He seems like he would be the most popular character from their catalog that would work. And I know Sakurai likes the character. So to me, it made perfect sense. The only thing was I was concerned about Persona 5 not being on Switch, so I didn't think much about it. Anyhow, we get there, midnight, and you gotta remember, Nintendo has never revealed a Smash character outside of a Nintendo Direct at that point. So it was launch night. There were rumors that Smash Ultimate would make an appearance at the Game Awards, but a lot of people are like, no, it won't happen. So I had the Game Awards on my phone, and there were rumors going around at the time about Minecraft, about I think Dragon Quest, from like Virgiben. Anyhow, so I headed out and we were waiting in line, and it was me, Blur, and a few other people, and well, I guess it was just me, Blur, and Burning Skylark, and
Yeah,
we
it's
were
just
all
the
in
three of
line
us.
today, in line together, and there were all these people, and we were literally the only people in line watching, and we're just watching it on my phone, and I'm just kind of like occasionally glancing at it, like, oh, cool, MK11 got announced, blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden, that trailer happens. Everything goes black, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird. What the?" And we all like are watching. And then all of a
We
sudden,
thought
the
like the
red,
stream died or something.
right, the red came on, and my first thought was Persona. But then I was like, no, it's probably like Cyberpunk. And then all of a sudden, the logo, the Phantom Thieves logo appears, and we all just start freaking out. And my instant thought is Joker and Smash, just because like that's where your mind wants to go, right?
Uh-huh.
And I didn't, and I was like, and we were all like, no, no, maybe it's, and so I remember you, Lauren, or
Yeah, I remember specifically saying, wait, just wait, because you were like, Joker and Smash, like immediately.
yeah, and you were like, it could be Persona Q2 or something. I'm like, no, 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 it's already out in Japan. I don't think they'd be doing a trailer here. And then the moment Mona said, in fact, we've been invited, that's when I knew. And I'm like, and I started freaking out. And here's the thing. Everybody in line had no idea what was going on because nobody was watching. We were the only ones.
People started looking over your shoulder because they're like, wait, what, a Smash announcement?
And I had tuned it out because I was just focusing on what was on my phone. And then it ended up being Joker and Smash, and we started screaming and freaking out. Like, just imagine your number one character literally out of nowhere, and an event you least expected to happen, having a Smash reveal right in front of your eyes, and it's like the number one character who nobody was talking about, like ever even having a chance in Smash. He wasn't being speculated about. You had no faith. Well, you had a little bit of faith, don't get me wrong. Like, it made sense, but like nobody was actively talking about it at the time.
There were like other characters who people were expecting more, like Banjo and stuff.
Right. But there was no like real threads or anybody talking much about it at the time. Like, maybe if you search deep, I remember I'd read threads and be like, yeah, he'd be cool, but it'll never happen. Like, it's probably like 0% chance it'll ever happen.
I never saw anyone saying anything about Joker and Smash myself. I never ran into anyone talking about it.
It didn't leak or anything, and then all of a sudden, and in fact, like, the big leakers at the time had deconfirmed any sort of, like, Atlas character, I remember, because I had read something about it. So, and it just happens, and you're just like in shock, and you like can't believe it happened as your number one, and you're just like freaking out, and you're just like, I can't believe this just happened. So like, if you ever at a point where you don't have any faith that your character will get in, just at least take a little bit of solace in the fact that it can happen. Like, even if people aren't talking about that character you really want right now, as long as there's like enough logic that the character could make it in, like the character makes enough sense, like they have connections to Nintendo, even if it's minor, because you got to remember, all Joker was in was PQ2. It's just the 3DS game. He's a side character. As long as they have some sort of connection to Nintendo, and you feel like the company has a high chance of like showing up or something, and that character is associated with that brand, then I think you have a pretty solid shot of that character eventually getting in. So again, I guess I'm done with my rant, but that was like the craziest moment I've ever had with any sort of video game period.
That was crazy. We were not composed at all in that line, because I remember people were like confused because like everyone was like, oh, they announced a DLC character, and they were like, who? And we were like, Joker, and everyone's like, who's Joker? Like, it was like that, because like Persona 5 was still niche, like no one knew who the character was.
Right, I don't remember. I think there was like one guy. There was one guy in line I remember, because right after that happened, people were still confused, and then the GameStop employee came out and he just said, Joker from Persona 5 was announced for Smash, and everybody was like, who? And there was one guy I saw in the corner who like raised his fist like, yeah, and that was it. And we were the only other ones who were like excited about it. Everybody was like, and somebody inevitably was like, Batman? Like, I remember somebody talking about like being really confused.
Man, like, I guess still at that time, Persona 5 is still niche in some regards,
Right. It
but it's
wasn't what it was
grown, and
today for
I'm
sure.
pretty sure with Royal, at least it being recognized more in gaming.
Smash, of course, like once it came into Smash, everybody knew Persona 5.
Yeah.
Like that's what solidified. I think that's what it really transformed the Persona community today. I mean, Persona 5, believe me, added a lot, but Smash especially. And yeah, I'm getting off topic. The fact is, characters that you least expect can happen. And you know, I know a lot of people talk about characters like Sora. Even I guess to a lesser extent, you could talk about characters like who was I just thinking? Crash.
Oh, I would love Spyro, but I
Yeah,
really don't
Spyro
think
would be
that'll
cool.
happen.
Crash is one of those characters where it's like, I don't know, maybe. That's one of those characters where I really don't know if I think it's possible or not, because Activision hasn't appeared in Smash before. But that's not to say they can't, because look, we just had Bethesda have a Mii costume appear. So we know that they're, you know, working with Western companies. So, I mean, Crash wouldn't necessarily completely surprise me. I just don't know how likely he is. And I think there's a lot of characters that fall in that category. And those characters are kind of in uncharted waters when we're talking about reps that haven't been there. I think companies that are likely to be in this pass, I would say Koei Tecmo. They work closely with Nintendo. It makes so much sense for them to get a rep. You know, a lot of people have been talking about Ryu Hayabusa making it in from Ninja Gaiden with Koei Tecmo. He makes a lot of sense. I think that I would say Bethesda makes sense. But we already got a Mii costume from them, so I find it odd that they would have a Mii costume that comes with another character that isn't a Bethesda character pack. Because like if Doom Guy gets in, it's not that he can't get in, but I think maybe Vault Boy would have appeared with somebody like Doom Guy. There are rumors about that. There was that old screenshot of the Kako Mallow thing where it was Kako Demon and a Mallow Mii costume, and people thought it was like way too detailed to be a fake, because you know at least the Mallow hat had like jiggle physics, and everybody was talking about like the fact that it has jiggle physics makes me think it's real, because why would a fake leak put in the enough trouble to give the hat jiggle physics?
I don't know.
So it was like a really good point. And I'm like, you know what? That's true. But you also got to think maybe that person thought, to make this just believable enough, I'll put some extra work into it. I think the very next day, everybody was like hacking Mii costumes to show it was possible. But I don't think anybody really showed up with anything quite as detailed as what we saw, and nobody could recreate the exact same Kako Demon hat. So it was a really interesting leak. It still hasn't been proven wrong. I don't know how much faith I have in it, because, you know, Grinch leak. Nobody was able to prove that wrong, quote unquote, until it was proven wrong by the developers themselves. So that's one that's still on the table. And Geno makes sense to me, and Doom Guy could happen. I still think it's a bit of a stretch, but who knows? Capcom is another company that makes a lot of sense. Whether you want to say Monster Hunter could be in there, I know we have Rathalos in there, or if you want to say Dante makes a lot of sense. I remember around Fighter Pass 5, everybody thought Dante was going to get unveiled, and it ended up being Byleth. So I think it doesn't really matter who everybody is like talking about the night before, because more than likely it's just gonna be it's almost always, unless it's been leaked, it's almost always a character that everybody just like is like, oh, Wasn't expecting that. Because you got to think about it. We've had 3 characters that technically have leaked. So Hero, I think, was the very first character to leak because they found Hero in the source code, the name Hero. And a lot of people fought about what it meant, but most people speculated it meant a Dragon Quest rep. Of course, it did. Then Terry didn't actually leak himself, but SNK leaked with the Fighter's Pass that he came with. So everybody knew it was an SNK rep, and everybody figured it was Terry because he made the most sense. Banjo was weird because there was a lot of speculation for months about him. He seemed like he could just work. Microsoft had made clear they were willing to work with Nintendo. And the night, I think it was like the day before E3, a bunch of notable leakers made hints about Banjo. And all of a sudden people are like, oh, Banjo's pretty much confirmed. So I guess he technically didn't like I guess he did leak to leakers, but people didn't know for sure if it was true or not. So those are the 3 I considered that technically leaked. But the other 3, so Min Min, Byleth, and Joker never leaked. So I think it's very interesting to see what'll happen here, because this character hasn't leaked, whoever it is. As far as we know, they haven't leaked. Maybe tomorrow it'll be Tracer and we realize they did leak. But there's a lot of speculation on what that guy said, if it's even true or not. So, and more times than not, these leaks are full of crap. So I don't even know how much stock to put into it. I think it's just been so long since anybody saw a leak that had any amount of slight credibility, that just because this one has come up and this guy, I guess, has a minor credibility, everybody's like, oh, this could happen, even though we used to get leaks like that all the time. So, Sorry, I've been ranting for this whole time. I barely let you talk.
Oh, no, you're good.
But is there anything that you would like to see happen in this reveal tomorrow? Or any characters that... What would be your wildest dream at this point?
Spyro, but I know he's not going to be it. There's so many other characters who would fit better.
Right. Yeah. For me, it would probably be... Ah, man. I mean, I think 2B would be cool. I wouldn't say she's like my dream character. I just think she'd be cool.
I could see her working.
2B would be cool.
There's so many characters I don't think about, and then when I hear them, I'm like, oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, 2B I think would be cool, but I'm not like dying to have 2B in Smash or anything. I just think she would be cool. I think Dante would be cool. Like, since playing DMC and stuff, I'm much more invested in seeing Dante happen because I think he could be really cool. And he'd never be my main, I don't think, but I think he could be really cool. I just hope he wouldn't play too similarly to Joker. However, if they make him like he is in DMC 5, which they probably won't, but if they do, he could be a really cool character because he has such a crazy move set. Another character I think would be cool that will never happen, maybe in a future Smash game, but I don't think he has any chance of happening now, is Kiryu. He'll never happen. He doesn't really fit into Smash. He fits into Tekken perfectly, which I think is also happening. But Smash, I don't know how much he fits in. Although I'd be over the moon to get any sort of Yakuza. Even if it was a Mii costume. I could see maybe a Kiryu Mii costume happening. But I think Joker is already our Sega rep. I know they consider him Atlas because they're the developer. But I think since Sega's the publisher, I think he counts as our Sega rep.
Yeah.
Although a Sonic character would be awesome too. I'd be totally down with a second Sonic rep. But third-party characters, aside from, I guess, Richter, don't really tend to get second reps.
Yeah, they don't. I would not be counting on a Sonic character unless Sega really asked. I know it's like Sonic's 30th, but I don't know if Nintendo would do anything about that.
Right. So those are the characters I've speculated about. You know, some other characters I've always speculated about is Tales of, because that would be a Namco rep.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say I have a friend who really wants a Tails character in.
Which I I think if Namco puts in a character, I do think at this point it would be a Tails rep. And we haven't gotten a new Namco character yet, because we got our Heihachi costume back. So I don't think it's going to be a Tekken character if it's a Namco character. I would not be surprised if we get Lloyd Irving from Tales of. That's another character I think is flying under people's radar. And I do think he could really happen, because he makes sense. He'd be a big RPG character with Namco that they could put in there. I don't think Tekken character is happening, or if it is, I guess it's just not Heihachi. But why would you not put Heihachi with the Tekken character if they were going to be in? So, other than that, I think those are all the companies I'd expect, like Koei Tecmo, Capcom, because Capcom technically needs to get a new rep, because you could count Ken, but Ken is only an Echo Fighter of Ryu, so I don't think that really counts as like a brand new Capcom rep. But maybe Capcom thought that was enough, and they put Rathalos in too. So they were just like, that's fine with us. And maybe that's all they fought for. But I would kind of be surprised if Capcom doesn't get a second rep.
I guess it may also depend, because I don't know if companies actually would, or if companies are reaching out to them directly.
Also, it's very possible that Nintendo blew their budget on the first Fighters Pass for third-party characters.
That's true, and they're just like, okay, we're gonna have to just do Nintendo characters.
So my kind of running theory is 3 Nintendo characters, 3 third-party characters in this pass. So I would think, I have this feeling Rex and Pyra are probably in there. Maybe another Pokemon along with Min Min, and then maybe like Travis Touchdown, maybe a Capcom rep, and then either a Koei Tecmo or Namco rep. Namco to me makes more sense, so maybe Lloyd Irving. Again, that Fighter's Pass does not really excite me whatsoever, except for maybe the Capcom character. But that just seems realistic to me, and I hate to be that guy, but those are the characters that seem realistic to me. Maybe Geno, but we've technically gotten a Square character already, so I don't think Square is likely. I think right now, at least for Burning Skylarker and I, the biggest character we want is Sora. Again, that's the character everybody talks about, and everybody says it's not happening, and it is happening.
Sora would be really hard to get, I think, for them, because he's still also kind of co-owned by Disney.
Right.
And Disney, I just don't think would care.
I also have it. So this is one of my biggest things. This is actually my number one reason as to why I think Sora won't be in Smash. I think you could negotiate with Disney, and I think you could make it happen. I think Disney would let it happen, but this is why I think it won't happen. I think because Sakurai is incredibly devoted to how he portrays characters, and he wants to make them accurate. So a lot of people make the argument, you can divorce Sora from the whole Disney thing if you just bring in Sora, right? And you just replace the Mickey Mouse keychain with like a Smash Ball or something. It's like, yeah, that makes sense, but I don't think Sakurai would see it that way. I think Sakurai would say, well, I don't think I can accurately depict Sora if he doesn't have Disney elements, and therefore if he's attached to Disney elements, I won't put him in.
He's really closely with Donald and Goofy, and I don't think Disney would let them put him in Smash.
Right,
and also he's gone on record saying he's like only video game characters, and if you put Donald and Goofy in there, even just for like a teaser, like a final Smash thing, he would kind of go against what he said, and I think he tries to keep his word.
Right, and ironically, I think for that reason, is also if Disney couldn't be in Smash, I think Sakurai wouldn't put Sora in, because again, like if you divorce Sora from Disney, you lose a huge part of the identity of Kingdom Hearts, and I think Sakurai would feel that it's misrepresenting the series at that point.
Yeah.
And so I don't think he would do it, because for me, in my head, I don't think Sakurai sees stuff that way. So even if it was possible, I don't think he would do it.
Which is sad, because Sora could be a really fun character.
Right.
But I would respect his decision because I think I'd feel the same way. Just as an artist, I'm like, well, if I'd put a character in something, I'd want them to be accurate to their thing.
Mm-hmm. Right. So again, Sora's one of those weird characters. I could eat my words tomorrow, and I'd happily eat them. Don't get me wrong. I want Sora. I would love to be proven wrong, but it just I don't want to get my hopes up for that it could happen. Not to put anybody down who wants Sora. Don't get me wrong. Like I want it just as much as you do.
Oh yeah, we all want Sora. We want Sora. He'd be cool.
That's just my own.
Any Kingdom Hearts games.
That's just my own belief about how Sakurai would approach it, because he's very specific and he tries to honor series to the best of his ability. So, I mean, you could put in Riku and Kairi and who knows, Organization 13, who knows what else they put in there, but if because it's one thing if you don't put in Donald and Goofy, it's another thing if you don't put in the little Mickey Mouse keychain. I know that seems like a little thing, but at that point it's like, well, is it even Kingdom Hearts or is it just Final Fantasy? It's like you're divorcing Disney from Kingdom Hearts. So anyhow, I know I've explained it like 10 million times over, but that's just my belief. Anyhow. So yeah, that would be my most that would be the most mind-blowing character. But something tells me that tomorrow we're going to wake up and we're going to see this character and we're all going to be like, oh, I didn't even think of that character. Or, oh, I thought of that character, but I didn't think they were like happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
Why'd you be like Ryu Hayabusa tomorrow? And you're like, okay, that makes sense. I guess I just wasn't expecting it to happen in this slot. I think that's what's going to catch a lot of people off guard. Because I think a lot of people have basically narrowed it down to a list of candidates that makes sense.
Yeah.
You're not having as many wild, crazy characters that are getting speculated about as much anymore. I think most people have kind of narrowed it down to characters that basically would work. So that's kind of what I have. I don't know if you have anything else to add to it. It's a pretty exhaustive list.
No, I think you cover it pretty well. You're more in the know of the Smash rumors than me. I just have characters where I'm just like, oh, that'd be really cool. I mean, I love Smash, don't get me wrong. But I kind of try to avoid the Smash community.
Yeah, probably for the best, honestly. I will say, if you're interested, there is a YouTuber he's not overbearing when he talks about stuff, and he only usually talks about stuff that's actually, like, credible. If you check out Papagenos, he's probably one of the most popular, like, Smash speculator YouTubers out there. And he's not, he's not somebody who talks about every single tiny leak that comes out. He covers a lot of stuff, but usually he'll siphon through stuff that seems like, maybe has some legitimacy to it. And his Discord's really good too. They usually will highlight all the big rumors. They found all sorts of stuff going on with the website before this announcement. They're the ones who always track down like the 7-Eleven ads. They at least post it to the Discord in the leaks and speculation tab. So those guys are really good. If you're looking for people who are only going to post information that seems like it could, be useful to speculation. So if you want to check them out, check them out. I think that's pretty much it. So we will talk to you guys later. I didn't have a video this past Monday because I had a feeling we were going to get Smash news, and I really wanted to do a Smash video. I probably should have in retrospect because now it's the night before. I was hoping we get a little bit more advanced notice, but I'm totally fine with getting a character tomorrow. So, all right, we'll talk to you guys later. See ya.
Bye.